As Scott mentioned, Israel's defense minister says the IDF will control the remaining bridges and the security zone up to the Litani River in Lebanon. The statement comes after the far-right Israeli finance minister said the Litani River should be Israel's new border with Lebanon.
The current military campaign in Lebanon must end with a fundamental change in the situation. Beyond the defeat of the terrorist organization Hezbollah, the Litani River must be our new border with the state of Lebanon, just like the Yellow Line in Gaza and like the barrier at Mount Hermon in Syria.
We can now bring in our correspondent, Claire Paccalin, who's covering the story for us from Beirut. Claire, good afternoon. What have authorities been saying to Israel's escalated offensive in the south of the country?
Well, since the very start of the war, there's been a fear here in Lebanon, and it's really ramped up in the last few days, with the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun saying that Israel's targeting of key infrastructure, including bridges which link the north of Lebanon to the south, could be a prelude, feels like a prelude to a full-scale Israeli ground invasion into Lebanon. The Lebanese president has also said that targeting this infrastructure, vital infrastructure which Lebanese civilians use, is collective punishment for Lebanese civilians and a violation of international law and Lebanon's sovereignty. Humanitarian organizations have also been speaking out, saying that this is making it much harder for them to get supplies, get aid, get food, bottled water and medicines down to the south, because even though Israel has called the whole of the south of Lebanon a red zone and told residents that they need to leave, some have stayed, many have left. There are over 1 million displaced Lebanese at the moment, but some have stayed in their communities, saying they want to stay and protect their homes, but also they don't really have anywhere else to go. So if they were to move up to the north of the country, they could find themselves living in the streets, living in tents, living in their cars, and they don't want that. All this is happening, of course, as Israel says that it is targeting vital infrastructure, yes, but vital also to Hezbollah. Israel wants to stop Hezbollah, prevent Hezbollah from funneling weapons and fighters down to the south, and Hezbollah is continuing to launch attacks into northern Israel, targeting areas in northern Israel with drones and with rockets too. So this recent escalation that we've seen in the last few days is not showing any sign of slowing down for the moment.
Claire, strikes also continue in Beirut's southern suburbs. What sort of damage are you seeing? And does it feel like Israel is any closer to dismantling Hezbollah, considering, over in Gaza, they've gotten flattened the entire enclave, but Hamas is still in control?
Well, the southern suburbs, the Hezbollah stronghold, are behind me. That's the area that you can see behind me there. And there were several Israeli strikes overnight there. I've not been looking around there this morning, but I was there the day before yesterday. You need Hezbollah permission in order to film in those southern suburbs, and we got that a couple of days ago. And what we saw was eye-opening in terms of the amount of destruction. The whole area hasn't been flattened by no means, but in the neighborhood that we were in, there were several buildings which had been flattened. And you can see mattresses and sofas and chairs, children's school books scattered across all over the place. There's a strong smell in the air. That neighborhood that we're in has mostly been evacuated because Israel has also told residents in the southern suburbs, the Hezbollah stronghold, to evacuate. And from time to time, Israel will also issue extra evacuation warnings, saying that a particular neighborhood in the southern suburbs, people need to get out. But it doesn't always. Israel doesn't always order these extra evacuation warnings. And we did meet an elderly lady in the southern suburbs who was living on her own. She was still there, and she said, I don't have any way to evacuate. I don't have anywhere to go. What am I going to do? So I'm staying here for now. What's interesting, though, is that there is quite a clear difference between the destruction you see in the southern suburbs with where I am in central Beirut. Now, we have had strikes. We saw strikes here in central Beirut last week, but the vibe is different. The city is, well, there's a contrast between those southern suburbs and the center of Beirut. And you can see that contrast as well in the city of Tyre or Tyre in the south of Lebanon, where a large part of the city is in the red zone, so the Israeli evacuation order zone, but some of the city, the old part of the city, is not. So residents there haven't evacuated, and life is almost going on as usual with shops and cafes open. So there really is a contrast, and I think it's worth underlining that for people. But there are strikes, and no one feels safe anywhere at the moment in Lebanon, but there are strikes where it's particularly areas which is particularly risky and areas which people feel slightly more safe in.